Welcome to the Tribute Lounge. I'm Mark Fawcett, and today we have Mark Sollors with us, and I'm going to be doing the long-term 4-year review of the Burton step-ons and the new step-on split. Welcome. So super great to have Mark Sollors, a Burton pro rider, hotshot, and who's like heavily involved with the development of all sorts of Burton performance product. I'm going to start with our long-term review of the Burton step-on system. I've been running it for a solid 4 years. For me, I run it probably 95% of the time I go snowboarding, so it's easily my daily driver. Also happens to be my competition one for those banked slaloms. Needless to say, I love this setup. If I didn't, I wouldn't be using it so much. Mark, how long have you been using this setup, and what are your impressions?
I mean, I'm on exactly the same thing here, Photon, Genesis. I've been on step-on since actually the release, but sparingly. Like I still run strap for predominantly most of the time when I'm filming. Over the past year, though, I have been moving to almost a 50-50 step-on split. Because I started working with development teams. So the more involved I get with like the progression and like the moving forward of step on, the more I want to ride it and be able to give like proper feedback into where we can continue to advance this product.
So what kind of conditions or days do you find yourself where you're like, oh yeah, I'm taking these out today?
I mean, that's pretty much a lot of the time when I'm riding resort of just like all mountain boarding. I think that's when I can really start feeling the benefits of being on step on. When I am filming, I tend to stick with a lot more strap, especially when it comes to freestyle and jumping, just because it's not a progression or a performance thing at all. It's literally just like the habit and the feeling of spending, like 25 years of being, or 24 years of being a professional snowboarder. It's a habit I have a hard time breaking. So again, it's not performance based of why I'm choosing one or the other. It's literally just like, okay, cool. If I need to be like 100% on here, I need to know exactly what my connection is between everything when it comes time to like jump off cliffs.
Gotcha. Yeah. Here's a great question. From the early days, version 1 of Step On to what we have here now for 2024, what do you feel, or what did you feel were like the big performance differences or increases in the new setup?
I think it's a lot of the direct connection between the board, your boot, and binding is what's kind of been progressing throughout this, is like where you feel right off the bat a lot more of a connection, and like there's no lag in response time anymore. There's no clicking with these new cleats, It's like that's a lot of what the engineering team has done to work towards.
I would totally concur with that. That was exactly what I felt. It went from what I would call a tiny, and even then, I still loved it, even though it would click or there'd be what I would call play. Yeah. It didn't overly negatively affect the performance. It was in your head like, oh my God, it's making noise, but I was still ripping.
Well, I think you have to look at it in a way where, like when they first came out with strap bindings, they weren't like, perfect, we have straps on our bindings, we're done. We don't need to continue working on this. It's like, this is like a product that continues to evolve and change as we get further into the development of this. So that's kind of where it's like, okay, where can we continue to push this product?
Yeah. And so anyway, with these new toe pieces in particular, now I'm finding there's like a proper amount of flex. They're silent. Yeah. I wouldn't call it play, I'd call it flex. And you get actually more lateral flex out of a traditional setup. Just a bit. And from that perspective, I really like these. I like them. I can like engage the whole nose of the board simply by driving my knee in with this setup. Yeah. Toe to heel, especially going into toe turns, I get the sensation. I don't know if you have the same, but the very first time I rode them, I had the sensation when I like drove in, instead of trying to like break the strap off, is the sensation, the torquey sensation you have on a standard setup. I had more the sensation of I push on the top of the tongue and the heel flips up.
Yeah, it's more of like you're pulling it through there. You're not like pushing through this resisting strap.
Yeah.
You're kind of just like leaning, and it's like an easy lift up to get onto that toe.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy how fast response it is toe to heel. Like it's absolutely insane.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the, like, honestly, like that's the bread and butter for me. Being able to step on is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love just being able to and go. It's fantastic, but I wouldn't use that if it didn't perform the way I wanted to. I wouldn't sacrifice performance for convenience, and I'm getting both with this thing, really.
I think that's like a message that kind of gets a little bit distorted, where people are like, oh, it's a convenience thing, not a performance thing. And that's not the case at all.
At all.
Like, yes, there was like the preaching constantly about how convenient this is, but there is performance to back it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's brilliant, like, that this is the connection point.
Right.
Back here.
Right.
And well, and of course where they are in the front too, and that sensation that you're held down more from the bottom and here as opposed to being crushed down onto the binding from the top. I also find no foot pain at the end of the day. Like I just have like a much more comfortable ride throughout a long period of time. If I spend a whole day of shredding,
That's great.
really no foot pain. And I think a lot of that stems from this. I don't know if you have
Love
a
how
similar.
much of an advocate you are for this.
I
So passionate about it. I knew you rode them.
I
but, like,
ride
it's
them.
really
Well, I
cool
mean,
to
it's
hear that.
why I ride them like so often and so much is just all of that. So I don't know if you
I
found
wouldn't
that.
say that that's noticeable for me. I feel like maybe it's because my strap and my original like strap and boot binding is so
gotta
dialed
dial in.
already that I'm not having an issue whether I'm on straps or step on.
Yeah.
So I can't speak to that, but I mean,
are
it's
you like
great.
a strap cranker? Like, are you like?
Oh yeah, just out of habit.
Okay.
Like
But I
not
mean,
even
tight,
because
like super tight, like cut your
Yeah,
circulation off
like,
tight.
I mean, yeah,
ish.
you could
Yeah.
do that for sure.
Okay, all
but
right.
like even just out of habit when I am strapped, anytime I'm doing something, it's cuffs, it's goggles, it's strapping, it's cuffs,
Yeah.
it's here. I'm doing that all the way until they're like, okay, we're ready, and I'm like constantly doing stuff, and then I'm like, hey, drop into 5, 3, 2, 1, drop, and I'm like maybe even one more click. So I'm definitely, like I say, I'm like very much of a habit person, and I
Gotcha.
think that's why I still spend so much time on straps when I'm filming.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So long-term review. One thing I haven't broken anything on my step-ons
Not me neither.
in 4 years. I
Makes
have
sense,
had
there's less
I've had a
moving
few
parts.
I've had a few sets because I had the luxury of being able to like have access to some. So I get a new set of boots every year. They've been holding up fine, but same thing because I actually keep the old ones. I lend them out to friends.
Nice.
Ride softer ones on like really good powder days. I'll pull out my like super worked in ones just for fun because I like having like a really loose feel under there.
Gotcha.
And then I actually have a set that I only use pretty much for like race days, and they
Right.
still got some like real
I run
stiffness to 'em.
photons. I'm a pretty stiff boot kind of person. I know Mikey Cicerelli when we were down in Chile. We rode step on the entire time we were down there, even when we were hitting jumps and everything. He ran the swath, I
Swaths,
believe,
yeah.
which was he wanted something softer.
Yeah.
Where I prefer something a little bit more.
I
more
have a
supportive.
set of swaths, and I liked them, but Photon's my boot. Yeah, I'm all about this. This is the exact setup I have
Nice.
as well, and love it. Great. Now, the cool new thing. Been waiting for this for a while. Lots of people ask about it. Step on split. The Burton's Step on Splitboard binding. I did get I had 2 really good days out there in the backcountry on it. So I have lots of like field test experience. What did you see, or what was your involvement with the development of this?
That was new to me. I didn't even know they were working towards this. So I
There we
have
go.
no part of
We're
this.
like super honest
And
here on
that's
the
why
show.
I'm very envious that you got to get out on a bunch of days with it, because I've literally walked around my house. I like set it up and I'm like, okay, carpet testing, this feels good. Everything's working fine.
I'm a big carpet tester.
Me too.
I'm
I
super
do
into
carpet test on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like, as you can see, it's just clean, it's simple, it's smooth. There's no moving parts really. I mean, you have the clips, the cleats. It's still got the T1 mounting going on, so it's just snapping easy.
Yep.
Like right when I got them, I pulled my hitchhikers off, didn't touch any of the mounting, and just slid those right on, and it's perfect. So it's ready to go.
Of course, you'll see some footage of me riding it and chatting about it in the field. My big takeaways, just cleanliness, not having straps all over the place. When you're splitboarding and you you're transitioning, those things are flapping all over the place. They're in your way.
I can't stand it.
Both ways, like totally. Also, this is the biggest one for me. And then I'll talk about performance. But as far as like cleanliness and convenience, being able to put your backpack on first, then stepping in and leaving on your when you're skinned up. Like, I can't tell you how many times, I don't know why, I always want to put my pack on right away. And then I'm leaning over to buckle stuff up. The pack's getting you in the back of the head. And everyone's like, just put your pack on last. I'm like, I don't know, it's weird, it's awkward. Like, I like that sequence.
It's the little things sometimes.
It's the little things, but being able to have your pack on, doing whatever, having your setup there, and just being able to walk over there. And sometimes I do go with 2 plankers, go touring.
Yeah.
And it's just so convenient for them. And now to be able to have that convenience, like adored that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 big takeaways from the perspective of just like transitioning and the cleanliness of the system.
I love that we're getting rid of the metal too.
Yeah.
It's like we basically have it's a glass-filled nylon, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is as close as you can get to like a traditional step-on binding that we have with the tray coming up. It's just like minimal moving parts, super clean, straps are out of the way, you don't have to deal with any of that. It's great.
Loved it. Performance-wise, a couple of things. My feet didn't get cold, so they do have a nice EVA foam padding on top, so you're not standing on aluminum rat traps that are just sucking all the heat out of the bottom of your boot. So that was really nice. They from a snowboard perspective, they felt like a set of my step-ons on a Splitboard. Like no problem at all. Didn't take weird adaptation. Didn't feel like they're jacked up too high. Fantastic. The forward lean system, tool-free. So a tool-free forward lean system, a simple one like we've seen before, and was able to do that out in the field. Gloves on for the most part. Maybe that's something they can refine in the future, but it
at least
works
still
great.
got
And you got
like the touring position. So
the touring position goes back
Yeah.
negative, and goes. I mean, there's 4 different points of forward lean. The biggest thing for me was the fact that this boot binding system is laterally a little stiffer, like we talked about, than a traditional setup. And that's something we actually look for, of course, in when you're splitting, when you're in tour mode, side hilling. And side hilling's always been the crux of a traditional Splitboard binding, because your boot shears away so easily from the top. So you'll have your knees all knocked in there, edging, and your skis are flat almost, and you're sliding. And the people on Phantoms or on skis are like, what's wrong with you guys? And they're just taking off on these like icy traverses. So because we're held up higher off the back and they're laterally a little stiffer, I did find a better level of support for side hilling. If you ever find yourself, this is an old Craig Kelly trick, and I'm sure lots of other people have done it too. If you are ever in the position where you need to do like these really long, you're at some sort of big mountain area, really long traverses in one direction or what have you, that it's steeper, firm snow, and you're having that struggle, these things are like a lifesaver. These snow sport straps.
Right.
I don't want to say what everyone else calls them. I don't want to say it. But these things are amazing to have in your pack. I mean, you should have a couple of them. I mean, for like first aid, rescue, anything. But all you need to do to connect the top of your boot to your high back so you have all that engagement, thanks Valhalla Pure, is just go all the way around.
Perfect.
And it's like, it's 2 seconds. These things are also pretty, I have maybe a little too short a one. No, it's okay. They're a little bit stretchy.
Learning something new every time I come hang out.
There you go. And so
amazing.
now you do this, you push in, everything tilts over.
Cool.
So yeah, these things are great. Like that's the best Band-Aid ever for a problem. And then when you're snowboarding down, of course, you're in like real snowboard stuff.
Right.
You're not taking a bath with your clothes on, which is like the hard boot conundrum.
You have the best of both. Helping you get up, take it off, you got the best.
Yeah,
of
I mean
both.
it comes off super easy. That just in your pocket, whatever.
Amazing.
Like, yeah.
Thanks for that.
Great tool. You're very welcome. And I hope we see you this winter with us out rocking on a set of
Absolutely. I'll be back through Nelson for sure.
these. Yeah.
See you guys in February.
We will see you in February. Thanks so much for coming
Of course.
by.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to all our viewers. Please click and subscribe and keep watching the Tribute Lounge.